And as I said earlier, that 4-minute stretch in the end of the first half was for us, I think, the telling blow. We went into the locker room feeling good about ourselves being down 6 points. We felt that we played poorly enough that we could have been easily down 14, 16 points at halftime. But we were only down 6, and we knew we had a chance. And we also knew if we got ahead, if we could tie and go ahead, then there'd be a lot of pressure. The pressure would be thrown back at them. And we were able to do that. Justin struggled big time first half, but came up big in the second. And the MVP, Japeth, was just so consistent all the way through this series. Consistent, especially defensively. He was such a force and a presence defensively. I don't know. I'm just really glad we didn't have to go to a Game 6 or Game 7. This is a team you don't want to give momentum to, and we were able to, kind of kill their momentum to start the third quarter, and that was key for us. I could go down the list, of our guys and who played well. I think Scotty was probably, as big as the numbers Justin made and Stanley made. I thought Scotty's quiet numbers were really the key to us winning, aside from Japeth. If I had to pick a second MVP, I would have picked Scotty. I felt he kind of changed the series around in Game 3 with his defense against Newsom, and he carried it all the way through. Newsom just had his way with us in the first 2 games, but when Scotty picked him up in Game 3, it was a whole new story. And then just the little things that he did, the rebounding, the getting out on the break, the passes, being in the right place at the right time. All that stuff doesn't show up in the stats, but they add so much to the overall, 48-minute game that you play. And I thought Scotty was just absolutely outstanding this series, and really proved why he is one of the elite players in the PBA. It's like Rudy Hatfield. Rudy Hatfield didn't score a lot of points, but we knew the impact he made on the game every time out when he was with Ginebra and when he was with Coca-Cola. And Scotty's the same way. He makes a huge impact in every game, even though it doesn't show up on the stats every time. LA was just an awesome leader all the way through. He's just been a great leader. He's fiery when he needs to be. Got that T in that game, kind of pumped everybody up. He knows how to handle people. He's really, really good with imports. And obviously LA's a really clutch scorer. He makes big baskets, big plays. Has his whole career. And Stanley, what do you say about Stanley? He just he's the difference. He was the difference in this series. That the one guy that they had to pay attention to that opened up things for Justin. And he really, I think of all the players, Scotty would get the crowd going with his rebounding. Japeth would get the crowd going with his block shots, and even Justin would get the crowd going with his three-point shooting. But Stanley and that ability to get in the open court and finish through traffic, nothing quite gets the crowd going like that. And that's just a huge lift for us. When he does something like that, it lifts the whole team because it lifts the crowd. And he does a lot more out there than you think. He rebounds, he defends. He's great at making steals, and he's just a great scorer and passer. He's really, really, really special, and he took us to the next level. And why we were able to win this series, this thing in 5 games, I think it was Stanley's presence. Well, it was absolutely well deserved. I think he made a statement in Game 1, and he made another statement in Game 2, and 1 to 3 and 4. He was consistent all the way through. Just a total game outside, taking shots. inside, getting drop passes and dunks, running the floor. Just a total game, defensively and offensively. He's turned into such a great weapon and a tough matchup for anybody, even imports. He's a tough matchup too. And I just think that he's going to get better and better and better. And he hasn't, he's just now coming into his own, even though he's like 31 or 32 years old. I think he's got his best 3 or 4 years ahead of him still. Well, we're certainly going to go for it. We feel we have the tools. We're going to have a substantial break, so we'll be able to kind of recharge our batteries and get keyed up for the All-Filipino. Stanley there as an anchor for the team. Japeth and Greg, they kind of take a step back usually when the imports come, but now it's their time to step forward. I think we have some exciting rookies that are coming to the team. And I think we'll be a more complete All-Filipino team. I mean, there's still Jumar and San Miguel and Talkentex and their ability to beat you up and down the court and from the perimeter. NLEX is coming on. There's so many teams that are getting better. Northport with Stan Hardinger and Anthony over there. And I'm not sure when Bullock is going to come back, but he's going to make an impact on that team. Then you got the, CJ Perez is around the league and all these different, the rookies coming in. Everybody's going to get better. But, we hope that we can use this conference to gain momentum into the All-Filipino. LA came up to me just there. He said, we got to win the All-Filipino. He said, I haven't won an All-Filipino yet, LA said. So I think he's going to get everybody keyed up to win. We know it's going to be tough, and there's going to be a lot of other teams to say about it, but, we're going to go for it.
Coach, you talk about having a great finish, holding the SEA Games and then winning the title with Sunday.
Well, it was awesome. I mean, I was saying a little bit earlier when I first came in that the schedule helped us a little bit, kind of favored us because, we had it was difficult in the fact that we had, our whole team involved in the Southeast Asian Games, and we had to turn around and play the semifinals quick. But the break after the semifinals kind of got us a chance to catch our breath and prepare better for the finals. And I think just the idea, the honor of playing the Southeast Asian Games kind of lifted our spirits, and the fact that we did well there and kind of carried over the momentum into the series. Because the whole staff was there, the whole starting lineup basically was there, and so I think we just kind of carried some momentum from the Southeast Asian Games, and it was Southeast Asian Games was a great experience, just a tremendous, short journey that we were on, and the fact that we were able to carry it into the finals and the championship was really awesome. Yeah. Joe came out and played some really key minutes. I don't know if everybody noticed, but, he's been battling injury this whole conference, and he's been kind of in and out of the lineup. He's not 100%, but he's still showing up in practice and doing the 3-on-3s and the 4-on-4s with all the rookies every day, trying to get in shape and get himself back. Just showing great heart all the time. And I know he's not 100%, but I felt at that moment we needed his leadership. And I just felt that he could go out there and contribute on the floor, even though, he's not 100% right physically. But, and he showed up, and he did that against San Miguel. I don't know if you remember against the quarterfinals in San Miguel. He came out and played the third quarter and really made a huge impact. And tonight he played the fourth quarter and made another big, huge impact in a crucial game. And, he's always ready. He's always been like that all the way through his career, and always trying to find ways to stay on the floor and get to the floor, despite injuries and tough times. So, he represents a lot of the character that we have at Ginebra. He represented the character that we had at Pure Foods during those great Pure Foods teams, and even beyond that with Alaska. And I think that we don't realize, because he kind of acts like a clown at times and does funny stuff on social media, but he has an incredible character, and when it comes to work and doing the work, he's ready to go every time. Nice question. Thank you.
Coach, how about your journey with Justin from selecting him as replacement import?
No, I gave him a hug and I said, I'm sorry you didn't win the Best Import Award. And he turned to me and laughed. He said, this is so much better. And that's just representative of who he is. I remember scouting him in the summer league, NBA summer league, and I thought, wow, what a guy would really do well in the Philippines. But he was a little bit more one-dimensional back then. He was more of just a 3 and D guy. He was a stretch 4, shot a lot of 3 points, but proved he could play bigger guys and play against bigger guys, even though he was only 6'5". So, but those kind of guys usually do well here. But the thing about Justin that has so impressed me is that while he's been here, his game has improved so tremendously from when we first came in terms of just being a normal stretch 4. I mean, now he handles the ball, he plays mid-range, he gets to the basket, he posts up. I mean, I was talking to my son who lives in San Francisco, and we were talking about how great Justin is and how hard it is to defend him, and how happy I am that he's on my team. I would hate to have to try to guard him on the other side. Reminds me a lot, actually, of Bobby Parks. When I was trying to figure out ways to guard Bobby Parks, just could not find ways. He always would find a way to beat you, to get his shots, to get into the right positions. And you would do all these different things, guard him with different people, double him in different areas, press up on him, back up on him. I mean, no matter what you did, Bobby Parks found a way to do it, to figure a way through it. And that's exactly what Justin does. You can guard him in a certain way, and it'll confuse him for maybe, you can see it on his face, he's a little confused. What should I do? But you give him 3 or 4 minutes, and he's figured it out, and he's moved on. Really an amazing skill that he has. But to me, from when we got him to where he is now, he's just made leaps and leaps of improvement. And the one thing my son said, he said, sorry, Dad, but Justin's in the wrong league. He shouldn't be in the PBA. He should be in the NBA playing as a star somewhere if he had been given a chance, because he's improved that much. He's an NBA caliber guy. I don't think there's any doubt. And I'm not going to tell Eric Spoelstra that, because Eric might scout him and steal him. So we keep quiet on that. I don't want anybody coming over from the NBA and taking him away. So we expect to bring him back in the second conference next time and the third conference after that. And he certainly deserves a break physically, physical-wise during the All-Filipino. But he'll be back next year. I mean, I think he'll be better even next year than he was this year.
Coach, 30 years of coaching in the PBA and continuously winning. What are your thoughts?
Well, winning never gets old. I think that's number one. I mean, to watch our guys get excited and to push hard for something and then achieve it, and seeing, being a part of that and watching them, really battle for it. And there's no greater feeling than that. And then the idea of, coaching in Ginebra, honestly, it's just a different feeling. You realize, I was talking earlier to Chino Trinidad, and we were talking about the Taal situation, and it's been literally a dark cloud over that area there, and with us winning, hopefully we bring a little sunshine to their lives over there, and that's our responsibility. I mean, we have such a big responsibility to all the fans to bring some sunshine, and I know when we win games there is some sunshine that's given out, and that's a great responsibility that we have. And I don't know, it's just a great honor coaching in Ginebra. And like I said, it's always coaching in Ginebra is like coaching the national team. And you talked about 30 years, no doubt about it, coming to Ginebra has really, reinvigorated me, as a coach, and, feeling all the attention from the fans and stuff. It keeps you going, it keeps you moving, and no time to slow down. No time to slow down. So I'm enjoying it. My mentor, Tex Winter, coached until he was 86. You never know. I doubt it, but you never know. I'll just be happy to be alive at 86.
When you were in the process of acquiring Stanley Winger, what was your reaction when this one got with this championship?
I really wasn't involved in the process. That was all Coach Al, and he came to me and he mentioned that Stanley would be a great piece to our puzzle. He could lift us to another level, and he says, I think we can get him, and I said, basically whatever it takes, and he went through all the work and did all the work, and I wasn't really that strongly involved in it, but I was sitting around with my fingers crossed and hoping. So like I said earlier, first of all, let me say that nothing that we do does not go past our boss, RSA. I mean, he has his finger in every little thing we do. And he mostly instigates things. He's the one that's instigating it all the time. He's the one deciding on personnel, coaches, coaching staffs, drafts. He's all involved in all of that. And it's really amazing. Here he is running this multi-billion-dollar corporation, and he has time to really figure out what's going on with all the basketball teams. He's an amazing man, truly, and it's amazing, working for him and watching him in action. So he really is the architect of all these teams and what we do, and I'm just the guy who steers on the steering wheel and steering it, but he gives me all the tools, and he really believes in equipping his guys, and he does a great job of it. So I'm pleased to be there. And Coach Al, who's his right-hand man and a really good friend, they work really well together, and they he looks at all the teams and tries to find a balance. Doesn't take. Coach Al doesn't look at San Miguel, I'm going to make San Miguel strong without making Ginebra strong, without making Purefoot strong. I mean, he's really good about, equalizing all of us out and keeping us all competitive. And so Al's been a tremendous boss for me. Al's personality, it was a little bit frightening in the beginning when because Al is so strong, and, I was a little bit, I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but he has just been fantastic to me, fantastic, and I appreciate all that he's done for us and all the players. Truly, he's been a really good friend, and helped me to do my job. Well, like I said earlier, that's really the target right now. I think we're all motivated for it. LA, again, spoke about it earlier and said that he hasn't won an All-Filipino yet. He's won import conferences, but not an All-Filipino yet. And, again, we love Justin, and we always feel when Justin steps onto the floor, we have a chance. But when you win an All-Filipino, you are the best team. San Miguel has had an incredible monopoly on the All-Filipino in the last 5 years. And it's well-deserved. They are a special, special team. And obviously, we are all trying, all of us. Doesn't matter who we are, Pure Foods, Ginebra, Talkentex, Columbia. We all want to get that All-Filipino championship. So, that's what they call the crown jewel of the three championships. And so, needless to say, we're going to be motivated. And I think Stanley gives us our best chance. Having Stanley now, having that constant threat on the floor is going to open up things for everybody else. He almost plays an import-like role out there on the floor. So they have to account for them, and that's going to open up for everybody else. And it gives guys like, again, Japeth and Greg the opportunity to really step forward and be the dominant guys instead of kind of stepping back and allowing the import to do that. You win the All-Filipino, you're the best team. You know, there's no doubt about it. You know, we have the best import. You know, so Durham is right there. We'll always have that prejudice that we have the best import, and that's why we win. But when we win the All-Filipino, it'll be all about us. By the way, let me just add that we made 3 key adjustments in this series. Actually today in this game, but earlier also in this series. And I just want to say every one of them came from Richard Del Rosario. Came from his ideas. And you know, I get all the credit for it. But everybody said, wow, Coach Tim makes such great adjustments when I'm not doing any of them. Yeah, I noticed. When he leaves, I'll tell you what a jerk Coach Richard is. I'll tell you the real truth. No, I just want to add that because he made some incredible adjustments in the game, and you know, it's up to me to decide whether to prioritize it, take it, not, you know, discard it, because we're getting ideas from, you know, Coach Olson, Coach Kirk, Coach Freddie. We're getting all ideas from everybody, even LA and Joe. They all give us ideas. It's up to me to prioritize. But the ones Richards came up with, they were the ones that we went with, and each one of them were successful and changed the series for us. So I honestly don't think I'd be sitting here without Richard. I think he needs to be recognized.
Coach, can we know those adjustments or are those not?
Well, no, just I think that, you know, well, just things like, you know, we needed to get up and press. And Newsom was really beating us off ball screens. And so, you know, we changed the matchup with Scotty on his suggestion, and then we pushed up on him and battled the screens harder, going under or over on the screens, and as opposed to our normal defense. And that kind of got Newsom a little bit more under control, especially in games 3 and 4. He did a much better job tonight in games 5. He kind of figured it out for this game tonight. But I thought that was a big turning point in that game 3 when we came out and started. We took Newsom off the floor a little bit, and that allowed us to put a little bit more attention on Durham. And then just some adjustments we did on Durham defensively as well. Bringing Scotty to the middle of the floor in the second half. We made Scotty bring the ball to the middle of the floor and started executing with ball screens because Durham was guarding him. That was another one of Richard's. Let's do that. And that kind of got us going there in the early part of the third quarter. Got us a couple of easy baskets. One of them was the Stanley screen. He screened for Stanley, and then he rolled, and Stanley gave him a pass, and then he got a 3-point play off a layup that kind of got the crowd going. So, and I could go on and on, but you know, just those are some of the key examples of things that you know. I got so many things to think about. I can't think about them all. That's why you have a staff, and I rely on Richard. I just think he's a great adjustment coach. He just sees the game really well, and we have a great relationship. And we've had this ever since Pure Foods, and that's, you know, the big reason why I forced, you know, they wanted him to stay and coach Pure Foods when I came to Ginebra, and I said, no way, you're coming with me, bud. And so I brought him with me to Ginebra, and he made that sacrifice of not going over and coaching at Pure Foods. So we have a great relationship. Now, can you leave so I can tell the real truth? Yeah, I'm ready to stay here for another hour. My wife is waiting for me, though. She's going to be a little upset. Is that it?
Congratulations.
Thank you for a long time. Hey, and I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for the Southeast Asian Games. You know, and the support you guys gave and what you wrote about. That was really special and made that journey very special. You guys were really kind to us in that Southeast Asian game. So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys.